I'm gonna die if you try. And you have to go all where? Come here. Yeah. Let's go. I was letting it in because you were so far back. I was letting it in. You have to go close there. So far back. Right foot.
Better come for me, better get your wings for free. Da 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 da.
Good afternoon and welcome to Warrior Park for Sunday MPL Tasmania action. Traditional rivals, the Olympia FC Warriors and Hobart Zebras, preparing to do battle in this all-important game. The Devonport Strikers have skipped 8 points clear on top of the table after their win over Kingborough yesterday. And if either of these teams are going to chase them down, 3 points absolutely vital this afternoon. They've had some cracking encounters down the years. Their most recent one at North Hobart was particularly enjoyable. And plenty of late drama and indeed controversy on that day. Will we see it again as we go from the MPL's biggest pitch to the MPL's smallest pitch, just to radically change things up? I'm Andrew Cooling. Joining me to call the action this afternoon is Paul Hunt. Good afternoon, Funty.
Good afternoon, Cooling. Pleasure to be here, as always, at Warrior Park from the inside of the media box, which was looking like to be jam-packed about an hour and a half ago. It was bucketing down here at Warrior Park, but luckily it's cleared up, and we'll probably expect a bit of a more crisper, more passing game than I was anticipating before on this artificial pitch. It will skid on a fair bit at Warrior Park, and it'll be interesting to see who that plays into the advantage of. Both teams with good pace up front, and Olympia, they are more familiar with this being their home ground. It'll be interesting to see how the Zebras adapt. They're both next to each other on the table, and as such, I'm expecting a pretty tight contest.
Yeah, I think Olympia definitely outplayed them in that previous matchup between the pair. Of course, Zebras struck back late, and it's going to be an entirely different game today at Warrior Park. No Jack Ryan for Olympia is the big one. They're going to have to go with Nkoso Malungala up top. A very different look. Will that work for them? We'll see. Certainly pace to burn between those two. And perhaps that'll see their midfielders looking to just hit it a little bit shorter, just try and get the passing game going rather than at times just knocking it long on Ryan's head, which can be such a tempting option. They're probably going to have to play it through in the midfield today, which is going to be tougher on the condensed space of Warrior Park. The Hobart Zebras, we might take a look at the teams for today's clash in a second here. Here is the Warriors lineup. Ryan Cook, number 11, they'll be looking for him to lift today. Lucas Hill presumably will play in the middle of defence again, given Jake Vandermeer's out for a little while. Bay Kurtz will line up at left back, you'd suspect. Jono Ladich in the midfield. Kyle McDonald in net. Nicholas Mearns in the midfield. Jonathan Malungala. We've just cut off a couple of letters in that one, I think. More of a tongue twister. We'll get that one addressed. Geoffrey Nkoso, what a goal he scored last week against South Hobart. Just looked like he was going to lift them back into the contest with his terrific long-range strike there. And then you've got Jordan Scott, the Englishman. It was pretty quiet last week. They'll want to see a dynamic performance from Scott today. He's a game breaker. He's their key man in the team, especially with Ryan out today. They're going to need him at his best against this Zebras outfit. He was pretty impressive last time they played. Paul Stevens will partner Hill in defence. And Warren Wadawu on the comeback trial from injury hasn't quite hit the heights we've seen from previous seasons from him. They'll be looking for a lift. On the bench, you've got Samuel Hills, Jacob Lehman, Darby Randall, Kyle Vincent and Austin Yoss. So very youthful interchange there, Funty.
Exceptionally youthful interchange. It's the first thing I noticed when looking at the team sheet for the Warriors. They do still have their three main starting midfielders here, Ladich, Mearns and Scott. That's what's propelled them to within title challenge this year, is having those three consistently starting. Having Mearns fit and in good form has made a real difference. He was spraying passes all around the pitch and probably put in what I think was his best performance of the season against the Zebras at North Hobart Oval the previous times this team's met. Jack Ryan, as we've mentioned, is a notable absentee. I've suspended for this one. He's been out running shuttle sprints. I'm not sure if that's for fitness or for punishment out there, but he's put in a good shift of work here today. Unfortunately, we won't see that on the pitch, so it will be Malungala also back from injury, pulling that hamstring in the Anzac Day sprint. And Geoffrey Nkoso, that goal last week, an absolute worldie, well deserved of the media coverage it's gotten around Tasmania and around Australia, that goal. And I think he'll be the real difference maker here this afternoon.
He's going to have to be in the absence of Ryan. He'll be the one leading the line. We'll switch over to the Hobart Zebras and see what they've got for us today. Stone Cold Riley Dillon. He's played a little bit in attack in recent times. Could play on the wing or as a fullback. Nicky Edwards, a very clever, creative player, really caused the Warriors some problems last time. Tommy Little returning to a place he spent a great deal of time at over here in Olympia against his former club. Could never really nail down that starting berth. Have so many centre-back options. He'll have a point to prove today, you'd expect. Adam McEwen, well, looking forward to his duel with Lucas Hill today. He gets the start, and of course that was the flashpoint of controversy in the last meeting between the two. That stunning goal McEwen scored, but certainly the elbow in the build-up left the Warriors rather put out. Matthew Pace has had quite a good season. He'll be up in attack there with the leading goal scorer in the competition, Matthew Sanders. 19 goals this year, just a phenomenal return. Geordie Muller, he up against Scott in that midfield battle will be crucial. The clock tower, Big Ben Robinson, will start possibly as a fullback today. We'll wait and see. Could also play in there at centre-half. And then you've got Dwayne Walsh, Samuel Watman, and one of the players in the season, Ryu Yonezawa, the Japanese midfielder slash fullback slash ultimate utility. Plug him in wherever he is, he'll give you a top-tier performance. Has been outstanding this year, and he's a real key man for the Zebras. On the bench, Jimmy Ackley, the experienced Czech centre-half, Jan Harutza, still returning from injury, Nathan Reed, and Mulugeta Smith, who I must admit I have not heard of.
No, neither. I'm going to assume he's a Challenge League player and some more youth there for the Zebras lineup. And it's interesting. We might see Big Ben out at fullback, and if there is one ground you can get away with playing that sort of almost 4 centre backs across the line in Warrior Park, is that place. As you mentioned, Tommy Little. It is pretty difficult to get into a starting lineup that has Vandermeer, Hill and Stevens as your rotating starting 3 centre-backs, so he's gone in search of game time and done a pretty good job so far, to be honest. Jan Harutz obviously having some injury troubles as well. And up front for the Zebras, Matthew Sanders, he loves scoring against sides based on this side of the river, and he'll be a key man in getting the Zebras on track here. We can see they're rocking their pink strips here this afternoon. Wouldn't mind their colours on the back being the numbers on the back being a slightly better colour as well. Makes it quite hard to see, but it is a very striking kit that the Zebras are rocking today. And I'll tell you what, I think they're in with a good shout here this afternoon, the Zebras.
It's going to be a very interesting game. The Zebras come into some pretty good form. Of course, they pushed Devonport all the way at KG5. We'll see how they go on the smaller pitch. I think a bigger pitch tends to suit the way they want to play. The same can probably be said of the Olympia Warriors, and with Ryan out, we'll see how things change for them today. But crucial contest, this one. Devonport now 8 points clear of Olympia. The Zebras, well, they're some 14 points back at the moment. They do have 2 games in hand, but they certainly can't afford to fall further behind. Absolutely vital that they take the points today. If they were to lose, it's probably the end of their title hopes. Still a lot of football left in this season, but hard to see how they could rein in such a deficit. Olympia, pretty important they don't cede further ground too. They want to remain within striking distance, especially if Devonport were to win the Cup next week. Again, the FFA Cup, you've got that condensed schedule. Maybe there'll be a few opportunities to peg back some points later in the season. We've got Charlie White in the middle, flanked by Monty Peace and Al Cook on the line as the captains come in. Lucas Hill up against Matty Sanders. I reckon it'll be a slightly fired up Lucas Hill today, given what happened last time they played.
Yeah, it certainly will. Obviously, those out there copped potentially a stray elbow. Sunday McEwen whacked in the equaliser out at North Hobart Oval. He will be fired up indeed, but I think Olympia, they've potentially got even more to play for than the Zebras. I'm probably going to be a little more critical of the Zebras' title chances and say that's pretty much Gornsky for me already. And I think Olympia, if they don't manage to cut it back to 5 points here today, it's going to be very difficult. It's going to be a mountain for them to climb here. They do have the mountain. He does climb high, but this one might just be a little too strong if they don't get the victory here today. So it's the pressure on the Warriors, and I think as we've about to get underway here, I'm going to firmly sit on the fence in terms of a prediction here as the game gets underway. Sanders whacks it long to the chef Ryan Cook, who seems to be at left back to start with here this afternoon. Yonezawa whacks it high. Walsh. And it's a Ladich. Scott with a lovely through ball. And again, just the length of Warrior Park Would have held up, and you'd imagine Watman having to thump that clear, but instead he can pick it up.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see the pace of Malungala and Nkoso in attack as the Zebras look to get away on the counter through pace. Down the left, put into touch. Bay Kurtz looks like he's lining up as a right back today with Cook in at left back as this one's played back to Riley Dillon. Sliding in was Kurtz again. Dillon back to Geordie Muller. Closely marked there. Ladich slid in. Fell to McEwen. Played out the back to Little, who goes searching over there for Ben Robinson. Not at centrally. Pretty good header, but Jordan Scott came in. Now Sanders. McEwen will send it out to Riley Dillon, who's bombed on. He's got 5 in the box to pick out. So Riley Dillon swings in the cross. It's a good-looking ball towards Sanders. Couldn't direct the header, but falls to Walsh. And charged down by Mearns for the throw-in. So you can see the Zebras bursting forward, getting plenty of bodies in the box. When you've got someone like Riley Dillon delivering, he'll more often than not pick them out. So both teams sending out their stall to attack early on. Long throw in. Sanders the target. Glancing header. Handball shouts not heated against Hill, rightfully so. Muller to Robinson. And Joffrey Nkoso just pressuring him there. And it looks like Yonezawa in at centre back today with Robinson at right back is interesting.
I think both teams have slightly shocked us with their formation as Edwards pounces on the mistake, cuts it back, and Stevens manages to redeem himself there after the sloppy touch there earlier, bailing himself out as Yonezawa, as we say, in right back, or centre back at the moment. Robinson up against Mearns. Big Ben does a pretty good job. Oh, Mearns managed to keep in play there on the grandstand side. Sunday, on his preferred day of the week, whacks it out to Dillon. Chip ball over the top. Lucas Hill has potentially put that into next door. And indeed he has. Luckily not destroying those pretty expensive solar panels on the roof next door over as well.
It's come back over nicely in the end as Stone Cold Riley Dillon prepares the throw in. Opting to go short. McEwen dinking in there. Lucas Hill sees it away from Sanders. Tommy Little winning it back off Malungala. To see him back out there after that most dramatic of hamstring injuries in the sprint on Anzac Day. Just pulled up short 10 metres from the end. Really adding some drama to that one, but his misfortune. And good to see the youngster back out there. He's got some real wheels, and the defence will have to be careful with he and Nkoso trying to get him behind. Here's Nicholas Mearns. Ryan Cook. Nkoso couldn't get his foot on that one. Yonezawa with a diagonal ball that might work pretty well in the end for pace, but a really heavy touch. Just made it simple for Lucas Hill. Just extends the leg. Riley Dillon wanting to take it quickly. And they've taken it a little bit too quickly in the end. Ladich just about kept it in. Kurtz plays it off of pace.
It's interesting how the Zebras are setting up as well. It seems like Sunday is playing in that centre forward role and Sanders drifting from that more as playing as a number 10. And as Scott whacks it in the Malungala direction, he won't have the height advantage over Tommy Little here this afternoon as Sanders goes the raking ball towards the Dwayne pipe. Will he hit it first time? Tries to get it down. Walsh wants to try and turn onto the right. Cook does a really good job. Knew exactly what his opposite number was trying to do there. Fortunately, it gives it away. Scott with the unorthodox pass. Muller. Yonezawa. Walsh tries to go the return ball to the Big Ben. And he, unfortunately, gets it straight out of play. It's a promising opportunity. Pace. McEwen bursting into the box. And it's also Olympia haven't really been able to get their foot on the ball in the first 5 minutes. Zebras making all the attacking intent.
They've definitely had the stronger start here, the Hobart Zebras. Looking to dominate. That's good from Scott. Forward to Joffrey Nkoso. Skips away from Tommy Little. And now he'll swing it out wide for Nicholas Mearns. Has to go back and turn onto his right. He dinks one in looking for Nkoso. That's where Jack Ryan would normally be. Kurtz couldn't make it work. Well done by Pace in the end. Bit of an up and under forward for Sunday. Stretching, trying to control. Muller coming through, and it'll be brought back for a foul. Jordan Scott with his first ticking off of the day.
Unsurprisingly, he wasn't terribly happy about that decision going against him there, Jordan Scott. Always usually with something to say, the combative Englishman. There's Little, takes it quickly to Muller. Walsh wanted it played early on the far side, but they'll keep possession initially. Yonezawa finds pace. Ladich with good pressure. Playing against one of his former sides today, Ladich. That's a good ball down the line to Dillon, who's bombed on. Sunday and Walsh in the box, could go to the top of the area, and Dillon elects to go the shot. Fires wide. McDonald probably had that one covered the whole way at his near post. Had very good options streaming forward there, Dillon, and probably would have been the better option for the fullback. Not afraid to bomb on. There's McDonald. Interesting, Olympia not really bothering with the short goal kicks that we see them do most weeks, as that's a good flick on header from Wadawu, and crucially Robinson gets a bit more purchase on it to send it back to the keeper.
First real shot in anger from the day coming from Riley Dillon there. I think he's maybe just trying to catch McDonald out there, maybe cheating, anticipating the cross. I think everyone thought the cross was coming. And just cut on to the right and hammered one instead as Lucas Hill forces one forward, easily cut out by Tommy Little. Glancing header from McEwen. Here's Paul Stevens. And Lucas Hill, the centre-half pairing for the foreseeable future, with Vandermeer out for a while. Here's Mearns trying to combine with the chef, Ryan Cook. It's a good-looking ball for Wadawu. Yonezawa able to step in and steer it away. He really has been Mr. Versatility this year, Yonezawa. Whether it's been fullback in midfield or doing karaoke in the Kingborough club rooms, he's generally excelled. As Ryan Cook looks it forward, and Koso can't get in behind.
Golden tonsils is another phrase I'd use to describe the Yonezawa as the pipes of an angel.
Truly, truly angelic. One of the surprises of the season, that is Walsh flicked on. Stevens thumping away from McEwen. Good header from Robinson, now in dispute. Rising high with Sanders over Scott. Ladich forcing the turnover. And now Nick Mearns with a little bit of room here. He tries to combine with Wadawu. Yonezawa, some good anticipating, but Wadawu kept a hold of it. Swung it across looking for Ladich, who's made a run. Ladich swinging it to the back post. There's only Geordie Muller there, but safety first, not knowing what was behind him.
Yeah, Mearns was lurking behind, and Watman hopefully gave him the shout to knock it out. Interesting to see Ladich bombing up in a wider area. You usually see him storming through the middle. And safety first from Muller, as we'll have the first corner of the match. Scott to take. Not blessed with their corner routines up on the whiteboard here in the media box, unlike last week. So we'll see what Scott does. He goes centrally, punched by Watman and deflected wide. I think off an Olympia boot. I don't think Lucas Hill knew a whole lot about that.
Yeah, that could have gone absolutely anywhere as we have a look at Scott. Loves the in-swinging corner, this man, keeping the keeper under pressure. Watman was. Thought that might have been the last touch of a zebra.
Oh, I thought that was a zebra. I thought that was Hill running in that deflected off, but that looked like a pink zebra that came off.
So perhaps unfortunate not to get a second corner there, but Watman will take the clearing goal kick. They really could have deflected into the net very easily. As Warren Wadawu swings it in behind a Yonezawa for Nkoso, turning onto the right. Clever little drop pass, but didn't quite pick out Ladich. Right idea, execution lacking. Here's Muller. McEwen back for pace. And they'll smash it long down the line. Sunday McEwen loses it to Bay Kurtz. Jimmy Ladich, plenty of touches on the ball early in this one. Paul Stevens. Scott wants it, but Nicky Edwards marking him tightly. Down the line, Yonezawa reading that one. And tried to keep it in. Almost backfired on him. In the end, the Warriors will get the throw in. Taken by the chef, Ryan Cook, lining up as a left back this week. Another player out there who's been used in numerous positions over the past couple of seasons. Long throw in towards the king of the Andals. Heavy touch We'll let that one be whacked away by Edwards. Under the head of Cook. Then the Dwayne pipe. Puts it down. Sanders and Scott scrapping away.
Good to see Paul Stevens out there today with his coming off early last week with that knee injury. He has had some problems with that over the past few years, so good to see it wasn't anything too serious last week as Ladich hits it out to Kurtz. Hill under pressure. Just whacks a high ball, little underneath it. And it's a Dillon. Really Dillon with the big up and under. Had a bit more time there than I think he knew. Sunday battling with Kurtz. Eventually, McDonald just whacks that one into touch. A little bit sloppy there for the last few seconds, but now it's pace. Do well to win a corner here off Kurtz. Jinks back onto the right. Stevens clears. Now Hill. Good ball up to Wadawu. Two in front of him as the postman. Malungala on one side. Mearns streaming forward. Goes towards Malungala. Drops the step over. Hits it towards Wadawu. Wants to go the 1-2. Offside is Malungala. In any case, Wadawu probably better off to hit it first time there rather than to play the 1-2.
Lovely work from Malungala there. Initially, but just made Wadawu stretch for it. Just needed to hit the feet there. Made it tough. Or not was it? So it was a good, nice little move to skip free of Tommy Lill from John Malungala. One of the Warriors youngsters. We've seen an increasing role, certainly before his injury this year, and I expect to see plenty of him in the second half of 2019. Here's Jordan Scott. Fires this one back to Kyle McDonald. Out to Lucas Hill. The mind splitting to the right-hand side and pushing on up the field. Very attack-minded defender is Lucas Hill. Paul Stevens. Now it's the chef Ryan Cook. Gets his head up and then slides it into the channel for Malungala. Continuing on was Mearns. Back post Ladich having to work to get there. And just skied away from him by pace. Straight to Kurtz though, back to Jono Ladich. He combines with the American. And out in Lucas Hill. Across to Stevens. Stevens into Scott. He's the man they want to get on the ball in these type of positions, but he's coughed it up here again. It's McEwen this time forcing the turnover. He's not had much room to manoeuvre in early in this one. Jordan Scott, the Zebra's clearly identifying. Need to clamp him down. Nicky Edwards has been marking him pretty tightly for a lot of the opening 15 minutes or so. This one swung in the Nkoso direction. Kurtz. Back to Nkoso. Swung one way, then the other, then chips it to Wadawu. Back out in front of Nkoso. Little does well. That support from Dillon. They conspire to win the ball back, although the Warriors will get the throw-in.
Little using his experience of marking up against Nkoso in training the last few years there. Just knew what his tricks were coming. Good defence there from the Zebras centre half, but they'll be under pressure again as Nkoso now with 2 for company. And I think that's come off a Zebras player last, and the assistant referee on that side thinks so as well. So Olympia with another chance from the set piece. They'll get Ryan Cook to trot all the way over from left back to take. Jordan Scott, start of the season, taking every possible set piece.
Maybe they're planning on working the in-swingers again today. It's been a big feature. I know Jack Ryan, who's normally the one who parks himself in front of the keeper. They go the routine, and it's just in behind Scott. He still has time to get the shot off and deflects into the back of the net. Jordan Scott took a wild deflection, but he finds the back of the net, the Englishman. And after 15 minutes, Olympia with their first shot for the game have got the goal. It's Jordan Scott. And the Warriors from the corner. They went the routine here. They caught them out a little pretty well. He's hit that nicely with the aid of a nice deflection. The Warriors draw first blood.
Doesn't need to be on corner duty when you can hit it from there. Jordan Scott, he was initially thought he had to track back and if the Zebras got the ball, but it just eluded the touch of Zebra's near post defender and allowed Scott some time to shoot. As you say, he's got a bit of a deflection to fly in, but after first 5 to 10 minutes where they're on the back foot, Olympia have worked themselves into this game, and it's been undoubtedly their player of the season, Jordan Scott, getting them in front on this one. And now here he is on the ball. And Koso, the heavy touch, nearly lets in Sanders. Muller, 4 options here. McEwen nearly gets in. Robinson under pressure from Mearns. Now the Dwayne pipe. Zebras direct and long over the hill of the mountain. It hills for Pace on the volley, but it's into the side netting from Matthew Pace. The Zebras are having good luck there on their left wing so far here this afternoon. It just eluded the head of the mountain. Pace with good connection. Probably better off aiming towards the far post on that occasion. It was McDonald again not having the short option here. They're clearly going more direct here this afternoon, and that one's finds the head of Muller. Ladich. Good tracking back from Pace in defence, but Wadawu manages to get on the ball. Wadawu goes to Nkoso. Joffrey Nkoso going into the box. Little marking him the whole way. Kurtz to Ladich. Malungala wanted it short, but Ladich will turn out. Nkoso do well to switch the field of play here, the Warriors. Stevens goes towards Mearns. Jinking inside, and it's a clear foul, but Charlie White will play advantage. First time ball towards Edwards. McDonald just getting the pass out. Scott's going to play a raking ball right down the throat to Watman.
Easy pickings there as they swing it out to Stone Cold Riley Dillon into the middle for Muller. Muller finds Edwards. Edwards has got the Dwayne pipe. Walsh with a powerful shot, and it's off the hands of McDonald and into the back of the nets. Dwayne Walsh cancels out Jordan Scott's opener, and just like that, we're back on terms. Walsh afforded far too much space, and McDonald, he got a big hand to it, and I think he'll feel he should have kept that one out.
Well, the keeper will feel pretty hardly done by there, but Walsh hit that with some power, right with the laces. And he got a good hand to a McDonald, but there was just too much sheer power on it from the Dwayne pipe. An immediate response for the Zebras. Good tree pose celebration as well from Dwayne Walsh. No idea if that was pre-planned or not. Right in front of the Warriors' wet area. But after Jordan Scott put the Warriors in front, Zebras probably get a goal. Their play so far has deserved. They've showed good game plan and a good press so far. As Robinson goes back to Watman, who takes a touch, and Wadawu nearly got there. Edwards. Mearns. It's surely a foul by Edwards. And anticipated a hotly contested game here today, but I wasn't expecting a goal fest, to be honest.
No, perhaps not, although Olympia looking to add further to that as John O'Ladich tried to skip free. Tommy Little with a good intervention. Jordan Scott now with some room, and he just stands this one up to where Bay Kurtz had made a run, and he wants a corner, suggesting took a little touch off of Riley Dillon, but he's not fooling anyone. And it will be a goal kick for Watman, but yeah, it's been, after first 5 or 10 minutes, not a lot of action. Suddenly the goals starting to flow, and hopefully it can continue. Quite often cagey affairs between these two teams, especially on this ground. Space is at such a premium, but good signs so far, and the Zebras, I'm sure Dave Smith will be delighted to respond so quickly to falling behind. Walsh can't get in behind of Cook on this occasion. Down the line for Joffrey Nkoso. Experienced Yonezawa, just able to escort that one out of play. The clock tower goes long, looking for Sanders. It was a good throw from Robinson. Sanders makes his way down the line. He's on his non-preferred right. He's going to want to turn back here. Scott well and truly aware of that, and in the end blocked him off. Exactly what his intent was. Ryan Cook searching ball for Malungala. Malungala brings it down. treads on the ball, recovers the situation pretty well, and now he's got Bay Kurtz up in support with him. Kurtz just over hitting the ball for Malungala. Bit of a momentum killer that one, as it was just starting to break open nicely.
And Koso had found some good space between the two centre-backs as well. Thought Kurtz might hit a first-time ball in that direction, but instead goes out for a Zeb's goal kick. Schwartman aim in McEwen direction, bodying up to the mountain well, sliding in. Mladic clearly winning that one. The foul will go against McEwen. Hill thought about taking it quickly to Jordan Scott. Instead goes to Stevens. Waiting for the options to come to him, and one is in Koso. Cook. Back to Stevens. Jordan Scott searching for short options. In the end goes long. And I think that's what the Zebras will be happy for the Warriors to do for the rest of this game. They seem pretty content just to almost wait for the Warriors to bang one over the top.
Yeah, well, I think that's why Yonazawa was in at centre half today, just to give that little bit of extra pace. Obviously, maybe if Jack Ryan was out there, Harutza might have got the start. I'm not sure how fit he is, but perhaps just looking for the matchup as just getting into a little bit of trouble, Paul Stevens, but in the end doesn't lose possession. Forward looking for Nkoso, and Yonazawa back into Watman, who had a difficult one there. Did pretty well to find Geordie Muller. Robinson in giving the header forward. The chef comes in. Leaning back and getting a little bit of that was Walsh. Just being played very close to the wing here at the moment. Front of the Zebras interchange.
Our favourite wing.
And Dave Smith just taking the chance. Impart some wisdom there to Robinson. Away goes Cook. Good header from Yonazawa, although straight to John Oladic. And looks like a free kick has been spotted there, going the way of the Zebras.
Yonazawa takes it out to Little. Dillon. We haven't seen bomb forward for a little while. Pace trying to get him behind Kurtz. Sends one back to McDonald, who clears well. Yonazawa gets in front of Nkoso, but only finds Mearns. Dawu tries the chip ball over the top. Geordie Muller gets his head up and immediately sends Pace a task. Kurtz going safety first. Probably realising the pace that Matthew Pace has. Didn't want to let that one bounce out. As Dillon goes short, trying to find some room in that landscaping corner of Warrior Park's always difficult, and they've conceded the foul, relieving some pressure on the Warriors. Since Walsh's goal, the game's really slowed down a tad.
Yeah, after a furious 5 minutes there with the two goals, just kind of gone back to where we were before. It momentarily broke open as the Mountain just launches this one long. They'll get a throw in a pretty good position in the end, so a good result for them. I'm not sure if the Nets are tactically set up that way to try and block the ball rolling out over that hill, but certainly achieved that outcome on this occasion as the long throw is to the feet of Wadawu. Wadawu's cross blocked off. He'll get a second bite at it here. Wadawu to the back middle of the box, punched away. Sanders then clears the area. McEwen up against Hill. Hill with the height advantage, always favoured there. Now he takes off on one of those customary slaloming runs he loves to embark upon from centre back. Jordan Scott will step back in coverage. Still going here, the Warriors. Malungala. So I think inside, good foot in from Sanders doing the defensive work there, the Colonel. Just blocked off his path. Jono Ladic wants a short option. Opts for Cook. Now Nkoso. Geoffrey Nkoso. Wadawu chipping it over the top and Little, in the end, a little ungainly and behind for a corner.
It's always a nervous one, that one, as a defender. Sometimes it can roll off the other side of the boot or the shin pad and loop your keeper, but got enough purchase on it on this occasion. Did Little, and after scoring from a corner on this side of the park, Jordan Scott decides to take one instead.
Seems to be if he's top of the box, it'll be the routine working the shot. Otherwise, he's taking it. So Scott will bend this one in. It's a good-looking ball too. Comes down and worked it. That's a great save from Sammy Watman. I think a handball had been spotted in the build-up to it, which will just wipe that one off, unfortunately, for the big Kiwi, because he's done very well here. That's a great piece of keeping.
It's a good save. It had enough curl on it, I think, from Wadawu in the end. Although for naught, I'm sure Watman will take great pleasure in preventing that one from going into the back of the net. There's Cook. Good little dink pass there to Mearns, who's got time and space to run into on the left wing, with Dalu coming across, stays onside. Postman looks to return it to Mearns. Miscommunication at the back from the Zebras. Eventually getting it out to Yonezawa. Did not have a whole lot of options to aim for. Cook trying to get it started quickly, playing with a bit more pace and intensity. And Koso, lovely little ball to Mearns. Nick Mearns on the volley. Watman parried Malungala from a yard out. And has put the Warriors 2-1 in front. Good run there from Mearns and shot. And Malungala doing what all good strikers should do and following it up.
Well, I don't think he will ever score an easier goal in his life than this one at John Malungala. As we have a look at the build-up, with Dawu combining with the king of the handles. It's a lovely little dink to Mearns. Took the shot on first time, and Watman just pushed it back into a dangerous area. The rebound that was there. And there was Malungala to poke home. He could hardly miss that. And Olympia reclaim their advantage here. 2-1 the score. And the man starting in place of Jack Ryan gets himself on the score sheet.
Justifying his inclusion as the replacement for the suspended Ryan. And it's a great build-up play. That intelligent run by Nick Mearns from deep really made that goal. It's a great ball to get it to him as well. And there's Cook. Whacks that one into the canteen area. And we'll see if the Zebras can reply immediately once again. Big Ben struggling to get the ball back. I think he's going to try the heave-ho, which is always difficult on the short confines of Warrior Park. Not much room for the run-up. Done well to win a corner on this occasion. Little looks like he's striding forward. Warriors will match up well with the tall timber of the Zebras. It looks like Hill has gone to Robinson. There's Edwards. Goes near post, and it's a good flick on from Robinson. Making that near post run rather than going with the head.
Nearly the instant response again.
Would have been about the same time difference between the two goals as well. McDonald edging his players forward. Goes along in the Mearns direction. Robinson underneath it. Geordie Muller. McEwen getting it with the chest. Colonel. Can't quite get it to Edwards. And now Scott with the outside of the right. Finds Nkoso. Now Mearns. Nkoso. Plenty of spin on that ball. Eventually, I think it's been gold offside in the end.
I like the look-away pass from Mearns, though.
Yeah.
The no-look action. Very, very sharp from Mearnsy there. All for nothing ultimately, but it's the type of stuff we like to see. A bit of flair.
He's got that in his locker, does Mearns. More skillful midfielders around.
So we little swinging this long. Easy pickings there for Lucas Hill, but not straight into the path of pace. Ladich recovering it. Just helped further afield there by Wadzawu to Malungla, and Ladich plays the early ball for Nkoso. Cleverly lets it run for Mearns. Nick Mearns on the left from the angle. He fires across the face. And it's just wide of the back stick. And it was a good flowing move from the Warriors there, but Mearns unable to cash in from the angle on this occasion.
Just on the non-preferred, Nick Mearns. Nkoso dropped short. Wanted that one played back to him at the top of the box, but Mearns well within his rights to have a pop at goal from there. Dribbles harmlessly wide, but the Warriors continuing to build the pressure As we mentioned in the pre-game, probably a little more pressure on them at this stage, trying to cut Devonport's 8-point lead back to 5. They've come out with a good intensity here this afternoon, as the chef does well to let that one run out for a throw-in. There's not a whole lot of options to aim for, and Koso finally presents and does well. Mearns, lovely footwork in the centre of the park there from Mearns. And the Colonel just putting a bit too much body in on that occasion. It's now Cook trying to go down the line. Instead just hits that one straight out of play.
30 minutes tick by in this one. Pretty entertaining first half at Warrior Park. Plenty of action. 3 goals so far. Interesting game in prospect. Jeffrey Koso. Oh, well done, Malungala arriving like a thief in the night. And can he smash this home? He can't. It's a great save from Watman. Denying him at the near post with the kick save. But Malungala just appearing, robbing this one from Tommy Little, missing the clearance. He couldn't quite find the back of the net.
Yeah, really wanted to hit that on his right foot, did Malungala. Probably better off trying to go the left into the back corner. Hit it with the laces. Waltman had to be alert. Made a good save in the end, but Nkoso now. Oh, Jordan Scott at the top of the box. Scott winds it up, but well blocked by the Zebras with Dawu. As far as Nkoso. Now Cook goes towards the back post. Ladich lurking. He'll get on the end of this one. Ladich to Scott. Hits it on the volley, Jordan Scott, but it's gone wide. Good technique from the Englishman. Since he's a good striker of the ball from outside the box. And the Warriors really putting the Zebras on the back foot. It's Watman. Knocks it down the middle, but right onto the head of Ladich. And Koso. And Tiroli's defender, and did so expertly, but Yonezawa committed the foul. Bay Kurtz is in a good pocket of space if they wanted to take it quickly, but Scott elects to send the tall timber forward.
Kurtz now sneaking back to cover Lucas Hill, who I suspect is just going to make a run to attack the back stick here. He's starting from very wide. We'll see if he begins the charge in here. Tommy Little's going to have to mark him. Where he heads, but he didn't get enough purchase on it, Jordan Scott. Didn't beat the wall. Kurtz rises over pace. He's just going to try and shield this one till reinforcements arrive. Oh, dodgy back pass. Nearly let in Nkoso. And now Nicky Edwards, who's seen a lot of the ball today, but that's a lovely chip over the top for Walsh. Takes it down in full stride. Into the middle it falls. The defence did well. Paul Stevens and Ryan Cook conspiring to shut down the Dwayne Pipe on this occasion.
The elevated doors shut from both sides there on Walsh, with Cook and Stevens coming in. His touch wasn't too bad, Walsh, getting that one out of the air, but just too centrally, and allowed the Warriors to get back. McDonald, he's a keeper who likes to play a relatively high line, so anytime there's a heavy touch on this field, you feel he's in contention to grab it, as Malungala takes it off Scott, hits the return ball. Mearns, who's playing pretty much as a left winger so far here today, hits Nkoso. Tried his tricks on Big Ben, not on this occasion. And McEwen up against Stevens, wants to win the foul, and Stevens took the bait. Can see the leg coming in, did the experienced striker. As Yonezawa hits it to Little. 10 more minutes for the Zebras to get an equaliser in this half. It's an aimless header in the end from Pace on the far side. And really, since that first 5 minutes, the only outlet the Zebras have really had has been when Walsh has got in behind Cook, and besides that, they haven't created a whole lot, Andrew.
Yeah, the best moments have come down this right-hand side through the Dwayne Pipe, as Olympia now looking to get on the offensive, and Ladich is brought down there. It'll be a free kick for the Warriors, probably a smart foul to concede there from Sanders. So just threatening to get him behind. They've played those 1-2s quite nicely today, Olympia, working together. The final third, plenty of good movement off the ball, pass and move type stuff. Jordan Scott at the heart of a lot of that. Just they line up at the top of the box. So yeah, very long kind of a defensive wall they got set up there. And Olympia rather butchered the free kick. It's going to work out all right though. Scott gets a chance to swing it in anyway, and Koso had to reach behind him there. Walsh wins it back, and it falls for Sanders. Can the Zebras break now here through Matthew Pace? Well, he'll able to clear it to Scott. Ladich, and it's going to be a slice of cheese here for Nicky Edwards.
Probably deserved there from Nicky Edwards. The push didn't have a huge amount of force, but it was at the throat area of Jordan Scott, right under the nose of the referee. And the first slice of cheese for the afternoon goes to the diminutive midfielder. As the Mountain will stand over this one. Knocks it short to Stevens. Scott directing traffic in the midfield. Calls for handball. Not heeded. Doing a little switch here, and Lucas Hill gets his head up, spies the run of Kurtz, but elects to knock it back the other way. Ottman must have had a big shout there as Robinson had the confidence to leave that one. The Kiwi keeper won't look to go short here on this occasion. Tries to go towards Riley Dillon, who had the sun in his eyes here on the sunny eastern shore. Little gets there in time this time. Does fine. Dillon. McEwen lays it off to Pace. Willing runners from the Zebras towards the back post. Scott read that well. Stood right in front of the penalty spot. Did the midfielder. Will look to break away. Malungala gets in behind the Zebras' defence as Wadawu at the top of the box. Still going is Malungala and should win a corner for his side. And the youngster's done very well there on that occasion.
Yeah, he did very nicely, so too did Jordan Scott. It was a lovely ball over the top from the Englishman. Malungala just needs to watch out with the arm there, potentially inviting some danger. Cook looks like he's going to take this one, so beware Jordan Scott at the top of the box. Looks like Matthew Pace is just going to park himself there. Jono Ladich now pushing out. We saw what he can do from that kind of range back on opening night. As Cook prepares to swing this one in. And it goes to the back post. Lucas Hill the target. He stretched to get there, but was always behind the Mountain. Just a bit too much purchase on that from the chef.
Yeah, more of a looping corner there from the chef. Had to generate most of the power. Did the Mountain. Tommy Little spies the run of McEwen and goes in that direction. Kurtz gets up well. Dillon wants to take it quickly. Goes towards McEwen. It all gets very narrow down that sideline, and Dillon does well to keep it in. Can't get the return ball. Hill does very well to get it out to Kurtz. Now with Dawu wanting to play the chip ball, but Malungala had offered short. Now the Zebras get time. Size up an option. Straight down the middle, right to the foot of Stevens. Edwards. Sanders gets his foot on the ball for the first time in quite some time, but the postman robs him on that occasion. And Koso. Time to turn and run at the defence. Balls to Wadawu. Back to Joffrey and Koso. And I'm not quite sure what Joffrey was trying to do there, but I don't think that was it.
I think he's just trying to lift it over the top of his defender, run in and smash a volley home. But phase one of that plan didn't quite go to plan when it went off the side of the boot and straight out of play. But look, he's got licence to try stuff like that as the king of the handles. We saw last week what kind of magic he can conjure up. Not quite his best on that occasion as Mearns beats out McEwen in the air. Now Malungala over the top of Edwards. The height there, a little handball, I reckon, against Malungala. So well done, Nicky Edwards, sticking with him. And he looks to take this one quickly because he spied the run of the Dwayne pipe. Just holds up a fraction, though. Walsh eventually brings it down and also gets a free kick as Ryan Cook just blocking his run to the ball there. And we'll see where this gets placed, because this could be in a very, very good spot maybe for the left foot of Sanders to try and bend something up and over the wall. Riley Dillon the other option.
Enjoyed Dillon, Edwards and Sanders all sprinting practically to the free kick spot. And I'll have to have an argument with each other about who's going to take this one. I do think it favours, as you say, Andrew, the left footer. Dillon might also be tempted to put one in the top left.
Well, I suppose when you're ambidextrous with your feet like Riley Dillon, you've got both, but it looks like the Colonel might have just pulled rank here, Sanders, and he bends it straight down the throat of Kyle McDonald. Comfortable there, didn't even try and go up and over the wall in the end. Sanders, as Hill tried to get the fast break going through Malungala, but overcooked it. And straight out of play from Watman.
I thought Watman had time to roll that one into his box and take a bit more time there, and elected to go safety first. Sanders, heavy touch, lets in Scott and Koso. And there's been adjudged offside, I believe. Right on the far side. Zebras, we should let Watman take this one and get more bodies up the field. Walsh peeling off towards the wing. Instead they'll go the other side. McEwen battling away with Hill. Resuming their duel from North Hobart a few weeks ago. Malungala can't quite keep that in. Whilst McEwen does use his body well to try and get in front. And I do slightly question the wisdom of playing a high ball in that direction with the mountain towering above. There's Muller. There's the 1-2 with Edwards. Raking ball looking for Robinson. Cook gets in front. Mearns. Scott has got an acre of space. And Cook instead, well, he's hit it to Robinson, who had no idea it was about an inch behind him, and the Warriors will keep it. Ladich spies Kurtz in a good pocket of space. Play Kurtz, and Koso wants it up ahead, but instead can't quite find the run of Wadawu. Another promising attack for the Warriors. Peters out.
Yeah, a couple of times they've just overhit those passes for the attackers, trying to slide them in. So they've had the better of the first half. Olympia here today. Good value for their lead. Ultimately, the Zebras have caused a few problems at the other end, but I don't think they can have too many complaints about the score as it stands. Rotman searching for pace there, but just couldn't quite keep it in play. There's narrow margins coming into play again. Hill to McDonald. Sunday McEwen sweating on him as McDonald just chips one up over to Ryan Cook, who's got some room to manoeuvre in here, and a good run made by Wadawu. Couldn't quite pick him out. Yonezawa stretching the cover. Now Jordan Muller to McEwen. Just needs to hold up and wait for some runs to develop. Does a pretty good job just waiting for that, and played it back to Robinson, and his return ball a poor one, straight to John O'Ladich. Now Mearns. Scott chipped it up over the top of McEwen. It looks to combine with Mearns, but coming in was Edwards. Tough coming together there. Mearns emerges with it and swings it forward for Malungala. Deflects back into the youngster's path, and he plays in Koso. And Koso to Bay Kurtz in space. He crosses. It might fall for Joffrey. Koso takes a touch and then lashes it past the post. Rather laconically on the left in the end. And a prime chance goes begging for the Warriors.
Yeah, I don't think he was quite expecting it to bobble to him at that height. Otherwise, I reckon he would have side-footed that first time. In the end, it is the left foot shot. Going harmlessly wide, but it really has been the Warriors dominant over the last 25 to 30 minutes. And now Lucas Hill striding forward, creating an overlap. Gets the ball back from Mearns. Hits Wadawu. Goes to chip ball. The Mountains still going, but not quite able to get the through ball. Watman coming out. It's Dillon controls that one, and Ladich gets in front. Advantage called. Ladich tried the back heel, but hit it into his own foot. Mearns. Wadawu and Malungala on one side. And it's been brought back for a late foul on Mearns. Just getting a little chippy out there. Zebras seem to be winning the foul count here quite significantly.
Another free kick in a good spot. Got to think Jordan Scott might fancy this. It is a long way out, but good over the dead ball. We'll see if he opts to shoot or maybe just stand one up again. Lucas Hill not going to come up for this one. Looks like he's just going to dink one in there. Now the run does come and he spies it from Kurtz. Heads it back in, might fall for Warren Wadawu. Lays it back for Jordan Scott, deflected again. Straight into the path of Watman on this occasion.
He gets such good power on his shots, does Jordan Scott. And has the awareness to track back and stop the fast break, which Walsh was aiming to do there, as Hill underneath this one goes over his head, pace. Trying to win it, McEwen bobbling in the air. Kurtz surely gets a stray elbow from Sanders there, and Charlie White pulls that one up. And he'll also give Jordan Scott a talking to as well. Under good numbers coming forward from the Zebras, but Olympia holding firm at the back as we are well into stoppage time here in the first half. Holding a 1-goal buffer. I think they'll go in to the half wishing they had a bigger cushion, I think.
Yeah, they've had the better of the play here. They've been pushing for goal number 3. Not quite been able to find it. As you said earlier, the Zebras' main threat have been those overlapping runs down the right and those switching balls to them. Beyond that, haven't overly threatened. And that will be the end of the first half here at Warrior Park. The host with a 2-1 lead. They had their opening goal counted out almost immediately by Dwayne Walsh. But they have retaken the lead as we head into the sheds. It's been pretty entertaining 45 minutes here. The chances start to flow a bit as the half wore on. Tell you what, Adam McEwen got a fair bit of claret coming out of the eye there. So that might just be the old square up there. And a real turn of events, but as it stands at half-time, 2-1 in favour of the Warriors and a deserved lead for mine.
Yeah, I'd certainly agree with that. Plenty of action here, both sides pressing and pushing up to score goals, which is what we like to see. But the Warriors hit the lead, and we'll see how they do it with the goal highlights. The well-rehearsed routine. Cook hitting it to the top of the box. Scott, aided by a deflection, I think, off Geordie Muller in the end. That was trying to press. But the Zebras got the immediate response. Muller, that's Edwards. Dwayne Walsh hit this with some power. Did open up for him well. McDonald got a hand to it. But in the end, it still went into the top corner. But the Warriors, from that moment, I'd say, pretty much on top. Lovely chip through ball. Mearns and Malungala with the easiest goal he will ever score to put the Warriors in front. Potentially could have been more. They had plenty more half chances, did the Warriors. And Koso with a couple more as well, but I'll agree with you, Andrew, and say it's a fully deserved lead at half-time.
That is, as we see the clouds just blocking off our usual picturesque view of the mountain here. Thankfully, they've stayed away from Warrior Park from now. We'll see if that can hold up for the second half, which we will bring to you in around about 10 minutes' time.
Dylan elects to go the shot.
Wadawu, Yonezawa, some good anticipating, but Wadawu kept a hold of it, swung it across looking for Ladich, who's made a run. Ladich swinging it to the back post.
Not blessed with their corner routines up on the whiteboard here in the media box, unlike last week, so we'll see what Scott does. He goes centrally, punched by Watman, and goes towards Malungala. Drops the step over, hits it towards Wadawu, wants to go the 1-2. Offside is Malungala.
Chips it to Wadawu, back out in front of Nkoso. Little does well. And support from Dylan. They can spell out to win the ball back. Maybe they're planning on working the in-swingers again today. It's been a big feature. I know Jack Ryan, who's normally the one who parks himself in front of the keeper. They go the routine, and it's just in behind Scott. He still has time to get the shot off and deflects into the back of the net.
Zebras direct and long over the hill of the mountain. It hills for pace on the volley, but it's into the side. Stevens goes towards Mearns. Jinking inside, and it's a clear foul, but Charlie White will play it.
Pickings there as they swing it out to Stone Cold Riley Dillon into the middle for Muller. Muller finds Edwards. Edwards has got the Dwayne pipe. Walks with a powerful shot, and it's off the hands of McDonald and into the back of the...
Watman playing McEwen direction, bodying up to the mountain well, sliding in.
Here, Wadau to the back middle of the box, punched away. Sanders then clears the area. McEwen up against Hill. Hill with the height advantage, otherwise he's taking it. So Scott will bend this one in. It's a good-looking ball too. Comes down and worked, and it's a great save from Sammy Watman. I think a handball.
Quickly, playing with a bit more pace and intensity. And Koso, lovely little ball to Mearns. Nick Mearns on the volley. Watman parried Malungala from a yard out. To Robinson. As Edwards goes near post, and it's a good flick on from Robinson.
And Ladich plays the early ball for Nkoso. Cleverly lets it run for Mearns. Nick Mearns on the left from the angle. He fires across the face.
To aim for, and Koso finally presents and does well. Mearns, lovely footwork in the centre of the park there from Mearns.
Yeah, interesting game in prospect for Nkoso. Oh, well done, Malungala arriving like a thief in the night. And can he smash this home? He can't. It's a great...
Goes towards the back post. Ladich lurking. He'll get on the end of this one. Ladich to Scott. Hits it on the volley, Jordan Scott, but it's gone wide. His tricks on Big Ben, not on this occasion. McEwen up against Stevens, wants to win the foul, and that hasn't created a whole lot, Andrew.
Yeah, the best moments have come down this right-hand side through the Dwayne pipe as Olympia now looking to get on the offensive.
Gets in behind the Zebras' defence as Wadawu at the top of the box. Still going as Malungala and should win a corner for his side.
Like Riley Dillon, you've got both, but it looks like the Colonel might have just pulled rank here, Sanders, and he bends it straight down the throat of Kyle McDonald. Koso to Bay Kurtz in space. He crosses. It might fall for Joffrey. Koso takes a touch and then lashes it past the post. Flies it from Kurtz. Gets it back in. Might fall for Warren Wadawu. Lays it back for Jordan Scott. Deflected again. Straight into the path of...
For over a quarter of a century, John and Rena Theotakis have worked for all which a new home being built online 24/7 from their office. Rainbow Building Solutions, Tasmania's custom home garage and shed specialist. Set your sights high, look up to Rainbow. Rainbow is not only Tasmania's custom home specialist, but they are only certified professional builder that provides you 24/7 online access to your home builder. Rainbow Building Solutions provides each client with online client reporting. Stay informed and updated on all aspects of your build and watch your new home being built online 24/7 from the office or from anywhere in the world. Call Rainbow Building Solutions today. You can find them on the web at www.rainbowbuilding.com.au or call us on 1300 737 910. Performance Automobiles. Performance Subaru is celebrating its 5+ year sponsorship of the Olympia FC. So right now, not only are they doing great deals on all Subarus, you'll also benefit from 5 years warranty, 5 years cap price servicing, and 5 years of roadside assistance. So not only are Performance Subaru supporting our club, they're also supporting you. Go on, do something amazing and update into a new Subaru Performance Subaru today. Performance Automobiles in Argyle Street, Hobart. You can find them at www.performanceautomobiles.com.au. Salamanca Fresh. North, south, east or west, you will find a Salamanca Fresh store in southern Tasmania near you. Specialising in supermarket items, gourmet delicatessen, wine and fresh Tasmanian produce, Salamanca Fresh stores are there for your convenience. There will be a Salamanca Fresh store near you. Go and see for yourself and check out our weekly specials on the web at www.salamancafresh.com.au. Urban Greek. Urban Greek is a home-style Greek restaurant specialising in home-cooked quality Greek food, with family favourites like lamb and spit, souvlaki, grilled fish, sagamaki, just to name a few. Olympia FC are proud to have them on board as baby sponsors for the 2019 season. You'll find them in Murray Street, just up from the State Library. Let Sava and Yoda know that you are part of the Olympia family when making your booking. You can find them on the web at www.urbangreekhobart.com. Green Electric. Green Electric Tasmania is a proudly 100% Tasmanian-owned business. In the past 4 years since the business was established, we have grown to a prominent player in the electrical industry. We have fully qualified electricians, data and implementation classes, triple C-bus formation, certified installers, and we have just launched solar design and install. With more than 30 years experience, our focus is providing quality service to residents and customers and business owners of all sizes in Hobart and surrounding areas. All work is 100% guaranteed and we are committed to safe, quality and integrity. For your electrical needs, please contact us on 0499 146 444 for no obligation quote. Virginia's Restaurant. Get down to the Railway Quay and enjoy the delightful Italian cuisine at Virginia's Pizza and Pasta Restaurant. Whether it's homemade muffin or tender veal, Virginia's source the finest produce and local ingredients. Make a reservation today. You can find them on the web at www.restaurantvirginia.com. Liston Line. Discover the extraordinary range of gourmet treasures at Liston Line, Tasmania's finest patisserie and delicatessen. For over a quarter of a century, John and Rena Theotakis have worked on the principle of fine food and great service, plus indicating an instruction. You can find them on the web at www.listonline.com.au.
Ladies and gentlemen, Charlie White has wandered onto the pitch here with his able assistants, Montgomery Peace and Alistair Cook. If we can please ask all spectators to remove themselves from the ground as both teams will now make their way onto the pitch to commence the second half. Once again, current score, Olympia FC Warriors 2, leading Hobart Zebras 1.
Yeah, I have to check the numbers. It's impossible. It's impossible.
That second goal, it was like, I heard the ball get kicked. I heard the ball just in amongst all the things. Yeah.
What? Yeah. Yeah. Pretty good. Easy job.
Just like to remind you all once again that next Sunday evening at 9 p.m. we have the Australian women's team, the Matildas, kicking off in their first World Cup match versus Italy. And we will have the Optus truck here with a big TV screen ready for us to watch the game. The ground will be open, it's free entry, we'll have the canteen open, a barbecue running, and so of course the bar will also be running. So if you'd like to come here and join us to watch the game, even if you're a supporter of Italy, you're quite welcome. So that'll be here next Sunday. Gates will open around 7:30 p.m. and of course the kickoff of Matildas playing Italy, Australia versus Italy, will be at 9 p.m. That's here, Warrior Park, on Sunday evening, June the 9th. I'd like to welcome Zebras back onto the pitch for the commencement of the second half with Olympia FC Warriors 2, currently leading Hobart Zebras.
And we're back for the second half here at Warrior Park. Olympia holding sway 2-1 over Hobart Zebras team, who we are reliably informed has just been given an absolute rocket by David Smith at half-time. So we'll see if that generates a response. I can understand why he wouldn't have been happy. It certainly wasn't their best first 45 minutes. Olympia could be further ahead, and they might be instantly if Merns had maybe picked a better pass there. Just Salvador a little bit short, but they will get a corner from it. And just a few seconds into this one, an early opportunity for Jordan Scott to test this Zebras defence and Watman in net. They've asked some questions with these in-swinging corners. They haven't looked particularly comfortable dealing with them. We'll see what Scott conjures on this occasion. It's towards Merns, and a crucial head took it away from him. He's behind for another corner.
Sanders has looked very sheepish after heading that away. He wasn't quite sure if someone was going to come around the back and get onto that one, but Merns going for the look-away pass within 20 seconds of the first half was a feature. And we'll see what the chef Ryan Cook can conjure up here. Notice they're marking Jordan Scott a bit tightly from this corner kick. So the in-swinger from the chef towards the back post, just about kept in from Malungala. Muller, he ends up running into his own teammate Pace, who was trying to spray the pass to him. Scott, I think he's overhit that one a tad. It does go out of play. But we'll see if the Zebras will respond to that hairdryer treatment they've copped at half-time. Merns, Muller battling away with Merns. He's surely got arms all over him, and Merns will get the free kick. The two number 6s going at it. Now Scott over the set piece. He was thinking about going up for it, and indeed he will jog forward. The Mountain looks to be the target of Scott, who whips it towards the back post with Dawu. Was lurking. That's a crucial header away from Robinson. Now the Dwayne pipe goes down the line. Cook heads clear. Malungala keeps it in play. McEwen tracking back in his attacking position. Muller didn't have a whole lot to aim for there, but that's smart play from Big Ben. Walsh wants to get it uphill. Doesn't quite hit the clearance. Donald whacks it down the line. Merns stayed onside, wins the header. Walsh trying to turn out of trouble. Either side able to string And a couple of passes together as Yonezawa hits that one over the head, and the chef will be able to recover.
Kyle McDonald cross to the mountain. They'll just take their time at the back here. Sanders pressing up, and now he opts to go long. Walsh competing with Mearns. Mearns quickest to react, back to Stevens. Oh, sharp move there from Mearns to find some space, and he slides it through for Wadawu. Both Ian and Koso went for it. Wadawu, the one to get on the end of it. Now just needs a little support. None was really forthcoming. And the Zebras defence are able to deal with that one. That will still be an Olympia throw, which Koso wants quickly. That's exactly where he heads. And Koso trying to skip free, opts to lay it back for Jordan Scott. Scott to Kurtz. Back to Scott again. Nicky Edwards is ever going stride for stride with him, and he's turned it over here to Stone Cold Riley Dillon, who looks to laid out the counter, but just played it in behind of Sanders, who gave him a bit of a glare back there. Wasn't particularly happy with that service. That's a good ball over the top for Kurtz, although Robinson should deal with it. Coughed it up to Kurtz. And that's shut down at the near post by Watman. Behind for a corner. He's got himself into a bit of trouble here, the Zebras defender, one he should have dealt with. The spin of the ball just bringing him undone.
I think he was expecting it to skid on a bit more, but the rain, well, we had a fair bit of it for the Women's Super League game here earlier, but it has subsided. Did not kick on as much as anticipated as Scott goes towards Wadawu. Over the back to Malungala. There's Ladic to play it to. Wants the return ball. It's overhit in the end. Stevens comes across, keeps it in play. Ladic, he was going the elaborate pass to Wadawu there. Goes safely into the arms of Watman. Rolls it out to Stone Cold Riley Dillon. Now to Yonezawa. Spies the run of Sanders peeling off the defence. Colonel Sanders knocks it back to the top of the box and hit first time from pace. And he's hit that high, wide, and onto the highway.
It's a contender for worst shot of the year. That was miles off.
I've seen one hit over the road on the other side of Warrior Park already this year as well, so he's got some company, but it was not close there from Matty Pace. There's McDonald. Will take the goal kick. Looking towards Wadawu. Yonezawa challenging in the air. And Koso. Jordy Muller. That's a lot of air underneath that one. Stay in play. And Walsh tried to find McEwen, who seems like the Zebras have put the Colonel back in a more centre forward position. Edwards still doing a good job on Scott though.
Watching him very closely today as Edwards, and Olympia still searching for a third goal here to try and put some distance between them. Mearns driving one, deflected off the ankle of Malungala. Warren Wadawu first to the scraps, and he looks to take on and put the cross into Malungala, and it's a good save from Watman. Again extending the right leg and keeps that out at the near post. A sharp one that might have just caught the Kiwi by surprise here, but he's done well to react in time. And kicks out the right leg. Important stop that one. Olympia knocking on the door. They want to find that third goal to really pay their dominance off a little as he swings this to the back post. Lucas Hill, hand on it from Watman. Hill turning onto his right, and in the end just rolls it over the line for a goal kick. Not particularly tidy there from Lucas Hill, but they don't want to make the same mistake they made at North Hobart, leaving the door ajar. Well, the Zebras were outplayed on that occasion, but they struck back late. They won't want history to repeat in that manner today, which is always the danger of whilst it remains 2-1.
Yeah, I think we'd both be in agreement they've outplayed them for most of the last half hour, 40 minutes of this game. They've got the lead, but probably should have it by more. And you never know, you can always get a moment of controversy at the end of the game that makes it 2-all. It's happened before, but Scott doing his best to prevent that, but turned it over on this occasion. Walsh and Cook coming right up behind him. Ladic sliding in as McEwen from behind. What a great challenge from Sunday, and gets himself a slice of cheese for his trouble. I think it was terribly malicious, but it was certainly a very mistimed slide challenge from behind, and deservedly goes in the book. Stevens. He's got Mearns in a good pocket of space here on the grandstand side, and that's the direction he goes. Kurtz, they want to flick it on to Mearns, who'd run back, but Nkoso showing good pace. Gets there in time, blocked off, and it is a foul given. So the Warriors with another set piece, continuing to build with pressure early in this second half. Scott trying to figure out where to put the ball down. 2-4-6 in the box for the Warriors. We'll see Scott take this one right into the middle. Well cleared by Yonezawa. Oh, taken off the foot of Ladich by Nkoso. Ladich's eyes are lit up with memories of round one on that occasion as Kurtz tries to find Hill. Now Ladich again. Mountain can't quite get the pass. And I don't know about you, but Ladich is probably still fuming.
Joffrey, my boy, come on. You can't be doing that to John Ladich. He's got form from that kind of area on this ground. His eyes lit up. My eyes lit up. I thought, here we go. I'm just going to put the laces through this. And the King of the Andals just snuck in and whipped that one away from him. Did apologise immediately there. And unsurprising that he'd want to be getting on the ball as often as he can, Joffrey, after last week. He's capable of those type of moments himself.
Maybe didn't want Ladich to one-up him.
Maybe. Although it's going to be a good battle between those. Probably the two best goals of the year so far as Joffrey and Koso works that one back to Yonezawa. Enough purchase on it to see it back to Watman. Here's Tommy Little. Olympia front three. Applying the pressure to the Zebras' defence here. Allowing them to play out with a great degree of ease. Geordie Muller dropping back really deep to try and help in that department. See him really coming back to receive the ball. Yonezawa holds up, and they're obviously not seeing what they like further afield. Just patiently knocking it around the back. Tommy Little now. Back to Robinson. Will the Zebras' patience be rewarded here as the clock tower charges forward? He lofts one in for Sanders to attack. It falls out the back for Riley Dillon. Back to Sanders. Flicked it in. Stevens half cleared it to the top of the area where McEwen then coughed it up to Scott. Nicky Edwards wins it back for the Zebras. And then well won back in turn by Mearns. That was a great challenge from Nick Mearns. Lucas Hill holding off McEwen, then just pushes him away. Play allowed to continue. Switching ball, a good one. It's Malungala. He's got Ladich in support. It's Jonathan Malungala. Sorry, it was Nkoso. Malungala's in the middle. There's a good save again from Watman. Kurtz, the attack continues. Kurtz knocks it to himself. Still going Kurtz. Mearns. And eventually the Zebras are going to win the ball away, so they hold out, but Olympia are really turning the screws just at the moment, and that's going to be a slice of cheese for Lucas Hill. That was pretty cynical.
Stop the play in its tracks there. Did the Mountain. I was more distracted by Sunday McEwen, who, as we went off here at halftime, had blood streaming from a cut above his face. I was hoping he'd come out with a big headband, bandage type setup, but just the Band-Aid, and Hill came in late. And another slice of cheese in the offing. It's 3 dished out so far. Here's Muller. Patient build-up on the Zebras. Edwards dropping really deep to play the ball. And the dink towards McEwen. He's going to have to battle again with Ladich. He takes it out of the sky well. Clipped from behind by Wadawu. Sending him to the deck. In the wars. Today is Sunday McEwen, maybe consistent retribution as well as the order of the day. There's Edwards, the deepest player back for the Zebras on that occasion. Pace beaten out by Mearns. I think the Warriors will win the throw-in down on the hidden area of Warrior Park from our position here in the media box. Hill will take the throw in. Good distance on it from the Mountain. Mearns beaten in the air. Ladich Scott. Stevens, good ball out to Nkoso. Just left a little bit too much in it, allowing Robinson time to clear. And it's Cook. Mungala was behind the Zebras player, but they'll win the free kick. Look to take it quickly. In the end, they'll wait for Scott to come across and get the tall timber up.
Scott again heads out to the right-hand side looking for Bay Kurtz. Riley Dillon shutting that down. Somehow stayed in. Nick Mearns was under his spell. Tried to nutmeg Stone Cold, who won it back, but now Kurtz back for the Warriors, driving to the byline. Mearns. And eventually Tommy Little will clear the danger up to Sanders. Heavy touch from the Colonel, though, allowed in Jordan Scott. Scott just tried to play it off of the opposition out of play, but that's worked perfectly for the Zebras into the path of McEwen, who couldn't get it past Paul Stevens, who's cut a very composed figure in the heart of the Warriors' defence today. He's been very good as this ball over the top should be dealt with by the Kiwi Semi Waltman. Bit of an ugly up and under with the stabbed clearance, though, straight to Jono Ladich, who's going to play the raking ball out towards Mearns. They've had some success with them today. Nick Mearns now just curls it to the back post. Bursting run to be made by Nkoso, who does well to keep it in. Geoffrey Nkoso walking the tightrope, beats his man, all ends up the king of the handles, and then crosses it straight out of play.
Jeez, there's some skill on show here this afternoon from the Warriors. Lovely little nutmeg there from Nkoso, but Ladich to take the ball, that up and under from Watman out of the air, turn on it, and then play a lovely crossfield ball. Real moment of quality from the Warriors midfielder. Quite the end product, and after an hour gone, they'd really like an extra goal in front at least here with the Warriors, as Stevens goes in. Sunday McEwen again on the ground. He's in the wars here this afternoon. We'll have another look at that, as I admit I didn't quite see it live. Stevens coming in with the swing.
That's the trying to give him a corky, I reckon.
Yeah.
They've been pretty physical on Sunday,
Yeah.
McEwen today. It's probably stopped short of targeting, but any time there's been a chance to crunch him in a 50-50, they have, as this one swung in. They managed to steer it away. Scott to Mearns. Mearns long looking for Malungala. Well-judged header from Yonezawa. Down to Ladich. Been impressed with his work in midfield today. Jono Ladich. Here's Nkoso. Turns. And again, they look to switch the play up. And again, it's Bay Kurtz bombing on. Kurtz didn't like what he saw, so turns onto the left, then dinks it looking for Mearns. And Watman plays the role of a centre-back there with the foot clearance. There was Scott back to Hill. Hill to Kurtz. They're really looking to attack down the right this half, the Warriors. And again, the diagonal ball chipped in. Away by the Dwayne Pipe. Ladich attacking it well. Great ball from Mearns to Ladich! And he pulls it wide. It was a glorious chance. Superb build-up play again from the Warriors. And you've just got to wonder if some of these missed chances are going to come back to haunt them, Paul Hunt.
Look at that touch from Mearns. So casual, and Ladich just hooking it. Complimenting his skill earlier as well. They're getting in such good areas this afternoon, the Warriors. They cannot extend that lead as Watman. It'll end up okay. I do think that was a bit of a shank. Mearns. So with Dawu, now Malungala. Nkoso wants it short. Ladich at the back post. Malungala in space. Joffrey Nkoso. Nkoso to with Dawu. Mearns wanting it as well. Now Kurtz. Not too many options and goes near post. Safely into the arms of Watman. Zebras have just not been able to build any pressure. Or sustained pressure here so far this afternoon as Stevens lets this one bounce over the top. Sanders controls well, is surrounded by blue shirts, one of whom was Hill. Mountain plays the ball down the channel to Nkoso. Yonezawa for company. Joffrey Nkoso. As Mearns on the overlap, goes in that direction. Mearns with the outside of the foot. Eventually thumb clear by Tommy Little. It is an absolute siege being laid into the Zebras here by the Warriors. They're doing their level best to put them past the point of no return. Just cannot hit the back of the net so far.
Yeah, they're knocking on the door here, the Warriors, trying to find the third goal. They're going to want to put one of these chances away. Eventually it's swung into Lucas Hill, and they do get their goal. The Mountain heads home. A towering header. He was never going to get beaten there. Lovely delivery and a thumping header from Lucas Hill, and the Warriors get that goal that they had been threatening to score all half.
The phrase "it's been coming" is an understatement there, and Hill getting into a good position. Thought he made his run a tad too early. Just loitered on the spot. Too much power for Watman to get that clear. 3-1 advantage. Got to say that's a pretty fair result for the Warriors as well. And as we see the air horn making a long appearance here at Warrior Park. And the Warriors thoroughly deserve that goal. The towering strength of Hill. Real captain's goal there from the centre back as they go towards Walsh from the kickoff. He uses his body well against Cook. Oh, Walsh does well to get past. Has a few in the box. I think took a deflection. Still Sanders waiting. Sanders on the chest. McDonald palms it clear. McEwen with the volley. And I think Scott will eventually, very composed in his clearance, sets that away. Nearly undone all their good work immediately. Balungala, I think he thought he strayed offside. So let that go out for a throw. Robinson down the line to Walsh, who was probably their best outlet in the first half as well. Was the Dwayne pipe. It'll be Big Ben to heave this one. Sanders calling for it in the 18-yard box. That's the direction he ends up going. Sanders wins the header again. Confusion in the box, but no one running in for the Zebras. As McDonald looks to find Nkoso. Mearns with the high boot. On a diving Nicky Edwards. Edwards, I think, appealing for a slice of cheese on Mearns there, but I think that was a little ambitious.
Just the foul, so the old adage of being most vulnerable just after you score has certainly been the case for Olympia today. It's been about the only times they have looked vulnerable at the back has been in the minutes directly preceding when they've scored. Every time they've scored a goal in this game, they've immediately coughed up a pretty good chance at the other end. And outside of those moments, the Zebras haven't created a whole bunch as Olympia on the attack again through Ladich. Wallace stretching, did nicely, got that one to pace. Now the Dwayne pipe. Looks up and we'll have a run at Cook, slid it between the legs of Mearns, who then just blocked off Walsh, and a free kick in a good spot here for the Zebras. Nicky Edwards looking like he fancies curling something in. Get the tall timber forwards. No, Ben Robinson staying back at the moment, interestingly. Thought he'd be one you'd probably want on the end of this. As Edwards prepares to take, and he swings it to the back post. Sanders works it back centrally, away by Stevens. Muller tried to steer the header, but coughed it up, and Malungla does a really good job holding that up under pressure. Jordan Scott, sensing the keeper off his lines, just tried to blast one. Either that or it was a really misplaced pass for Nkoso. Whichever he was going for, he got nowhere near it.
I don't know if him and Nkoso were just Nkoso was trying to bail him out there by putting the hand up for apology, but that did look like a wildly miscued shot from up here anyway. Might give him the benefit of the doubt. Say he meant that as a pass, but we'll see what the Zebras can do now. They have possession. It's Yonezawa. Ball down the middle. Mearns manages to clear. Little only hits that as far as Ladich. Good run coming from Mearns. Little in all sorts of trouble. Is Mearns onside? The flag does go up in the end. So 66 minutes gone, and one might anticipate substitution or two occurring soon. Zebras, a few players looking slightly out on their feet.
They've really got him behind on this right-hand side this half, haven't they, the Warriors? As looks like they're going to pull a double sub. Pace and Sunday McEwen seem to be heading off here for the Zebras. That's James Ackley who's come on, and I'm guessing that's Mulligetta Smith, the unknown quantity on the bench. I know he climbs trees, judging by Linda Higginson's scouting report, but that's about all we've got on him. Former Challenge League player at South Hobart, I think you said, didn't you?
I think that was the other bit of information we got, as well as a photo of Malunga Smith posing in a tree. That was the slightly more serious bit of information we got delivered. As you correctly point out, you and I have seen him a whole lot, but gets an NPL debut for the Zebras here. That's surely pushing the back by Sanders. He's cut a relatively lone figure, especially in this second half.
Just needs to disguise that one a little bit better. There's ways of tunneling the opposition. He's normally very good at that sort of stuff, Sanders, but that was a lazy push.
Yeah.
2 extended arms. The ref's going to spot that all day.
Yeah, and when we can spot it from 50 metres away as well, it's not well disguised.
Needs to be a bit more cunning, as this one's repelled away by big Juan Harutza. He must have come on there too, has he?
Yeah, made a triple sub.
So that's interesting. He's come on here as Nick Mearns is not going to get the advantage here. It looks like it's going to be brought back. Mearns thought he was on there, so just Tommy Little gone off for Harutza, has he? Well, he's still out there. I'm trying to figure that one out in a second. Here's Kurtz back to Scott. Jordan Scott punching it in. Yonezawa stepping back, and it's so nicely forward now by Cook. Hitting the deck was Malungala. Suspicions of a high boot against Ackley, and that's how Charles White sees it. The free kick line.
Pace, McEwen and Walsh.
Okay, so the triple sub, that's real FIFA style managerial work from Dave Smith there.
I was going to say, gone my frustrated, I'm 1-0 down on Football Manager, triple sub at the 60th minute mark there from Smith. Real show of intent, or giving his bench players a significant run. Scott thought about taking that quickly. Speaking of subs, I'm also seeing Austin Yost on the field as well for the Warriors. As that ball's curled in, Watman tries to keep it in the field of play and doesn't. Late call given on that occasion. Another corner kick for the Warriors. They'd be pushing double figures here soon, surely.
Yeah, ninth one of the afternoon coming up here for Jordan Scott. They've won plenty of them. They take this one short. Back to Jordan Scott, who bends this one. They're not going to be able to get on the end of that as the lights coming on here, and definitely required. It is quite dim out there at the moment. I was just thinking it was quite hard to see. I'm not surprised the lights have come on. Not sure they're doing a whole lot, to be honest.
I think they've come on a tad late, to be honest. It's come very suddenly.
Very murky, overcast day. Lots of grey clouds about. It was absolutely pouring earlier, so the conditions certainly have picked up. Fortunately for this one, the Super League players probably not quite so fortunate in the previous fixture, but it's cleared up this afternoon. Certainly for those spectators in the wet area, they'll be thankful for that as Cook chips to the back stick. Again, it's over the head of Malungala. Tracked it down and played it back to Jordan Scott, who might think about the shot here, Jordan Scott. He did, but just whipping that one past the near stick.
Yeah, he had one thing on his mind there from when he picked that up. Did Jordan Scott, Hopman having to do his own ball retrieval in the bush there. A gamely position for the keeper. I think it's Warren with Dawu that looks like the Warriors have taken off, with youngster Yost coming on. Watman works that one down the middle. Stevens winning in front of Sanders. Harutza. Again forward, was he pushed underneath there? Well, Sanders, and he was on that occasion from Ladich. Zebras, they make, certainly on the balance of play, a pretty improbable comeback. Edwards stand over this free kick. Pretty much telegraph where this one's going to go. Looks towards the back post and cleared in the end from the Warriors. Good hard running there from Scott, but the sideline will get there first. Quickly taken, throw into Dillon. Muller wants to switch the play out, and in order to do so has to go all the way back to the keeper. Watman, he's only found Mearns. Malungala threatening. Little looks it as far as Ladich. Now it's Nick Mearns who accidentally leaves the ball behind. Good run. Cook, Malungala strays into an offside position. Chef tries to do it all himself there on the far side and forces Harutza just to whack it out of play.
We've seen why Harutza's come on, so they can push Yonezawa up into the midfield, try and get their key man involved on the ball a little bit more. He's heavily involved scrambling in defence today, but they've missed his playmaking and just the way he settles things down in the midfield, gets his foot on the ball. They have missed that presence today, I think, as Jono Ladic has really run the midfield today, and he gets back on the ball here, and he's got a couple to pick out in the middle. He tried the little nutmeg of Harutza, and behind it goes for corner number 10. The 3-1 lead. The ball up this end of the pitch. They're looking pretty comfortable in this one at the moment, the Warriors. The Zebras haven't really looked particularly likely in this second half especially. Olympia have just got on with the job. And Jordan Scott now looking to land the knockout punch from this set piece. He goes punched away by Watman. No one lurking outside the area, so Mearns will track back, and the back heel just caught Lucas Hill a little by surprise. Mearns now hustling out after this one. Brings it under his spell. Couldn't find Malungala. Cut out by O'Reilly Dillon. Ladic should intercept and does. Back to Paul Stevens. Stevens swinging it across, looking for Nkoso. That was cut out by Little. Back goes Yost, and gave McDonald a tough one to deal with there, Yost. And in the end, did well to scramble and get a piece of it.
It's a good thing McDonald, as we mentioned before, starts a fair way off his line on most occasions there. As Little gets it to Dillon. Dillon tries to go forward to Sanders. Stevens wins that one in the air. Turning on it and back to Scott. Mearns in a good pocket of space once again. Tries to play through Malungala. Watman. Harutza really wanted to call a bit earlier there, did the centre back. As Yonezawa gets on the ball and sprays it out to Smith. Heavy touch from the substitute, plays in Nkoso. Joffrey Nkoso running at the fence. King of the Andals drops the shoulder. Hits a step over, gets to the top of the box, and Yost on a block there from Tommy Little, putting the whole of his body on the line on that occasion. Now Mearns to Nkoso. Only Malunga in the block. The bag of tricks coming out here from the King of the Andals. In the end, back to Cook, and then in the end, probably the worst touch of his game so far there from Nkoso. Sanders only find Yost. Back to Ladic. Really run the show in the centre of the park. Good ball from Mearns. Yost getting in on the flicks. That one only goes through to Watman.
Along he goes. Giving Ackley not a whole lot of hope against Lucas Hill, and some support also there in the form of Kurtz. Did pretty well, Jimmy Ackley, and now Dillon swings it across, searching for Sanders. Takes it down and turns, wheeling around onto that left foot of his, just dinking one, looking for Smith. Stevens should be able to see this one out. It's been a really impressive response from the Warriors today. They were completely dismantled 7 days ago by South Hobart. A series of errors at the back, but they've been much, much better today. And bounce back, and they will cut the Strikers' lead back to 5 points today, as Malungala being replaced here, and Jacob Lehman, the man, running on for him. There's some fresh legs. You'd assume he moves out to the left, and Koso split out on the right, but it's been a good response from this Warriors team. It's the league or bust for them now, and at 5 points, that's still well and truly manageable, considering both these teams are now really at the halfway point of their league season, 12 of 24 games. A lot of football still to be played in 2019. And the Warriors well and truly alive in that title race.
Yeah, as you say, only halfway through the season, and Devonport or South Hobart may have an FFA Cup run to contend with, and it'll take a fair bit to overrun the Strikers, who have such a good home ground advantage. But the Warriors are doing likewise here so far this season, as Nkoso breaks away down to Mearns. Yost at the back post, Nkoso at the top of the box. It's just played behind from Mearns, and will roll out for a throw in. But Olympia, 8 points would be a hell of a mountain to climb. 5 is a little more manageable, particularly the game against the Strikers to come as well, as Sanders can't elude the head of Kurtz. Hill.
For me, the key thing is they've got 7 of their final 12 at home, 7-5 split. They've been really good at Warrior Park this year. They've been a much better side than they have been away as they keep up the attack here through Joffrey and Koso. I think that could loom very large indeed as Koso gets brought down, and that'll present promising set-piece opportunity for Scott. If they can make Warrior Park the real fortress that it has been so far this year, the best football's been played at this venue, and there's still every chance. As you mentioned, the FFA Cup looming large potentially for one of those title rivals. If you draw a game up in Darwin or Western Australia, pretty tough to come back 3 days later and have to line up in the league. 3 games in 7 days can be pretty grueling. Jordan Scott trying to sneak one in, and Watman steers it behind for another corner.
Yeah, whilst I'm sure the Warriors would like Devonport away as far away as possible, I think Devonport would finally like a home game after last year being stooged up. And to be fair, so would South Hobart as well. They've played up in Sydney before in the FFA Cup. Zachary beaten away by Scott, who wants to have a hit. Jordan Scott deflected only down the throat of Watman. Works that one high into the sky. Ladich underneath it. Going again is Ladich. Now to Scott and Koso. I think that's where he was intending that run to go. Kurtz pushed forward well. Ackley wins the header, gets the return ball from Sanders, but Stevens comes across nicely. Wakes it out as far as Ladich. Covered plenty of ground here today. It's Jono Ladich. Arutza steals in, but only finds Hill. Koso arcing his run to stay on side. Joffrey and Koso down to the byline in front of the Warriors fans. Hits it for Mearns, and he's beaten away from Little, getting a toe in. Scott rises high. Koso to Kurtz. Scott, he'll do well to switch it out here. Instead keeps it on the grandstand side. Koso wants to play the 1-2 with Lehman. Lehman hits the curler. And took a bounce in front of the keeper. Watman had to play safety first and whack that out for a corner. Just always awkward when it bounces in front of the keeper. Luckily on this artificial pitch here at the Warriors, you do get a pretty even bounce throughout the 90 minutes. Watman safely parries that one away. As the Warriors play the short corner to Cook. Cook towards the near post, headed clear from Harutza. It's at the wrong end here for the Zebras if they're to mount what would be an incredible comeback. Warriors probably, to be fair, doing what they haven't done in seasons past and really played out games the full 90 minutes, particularly at Warrior Park. Scott finds Lehman, wants to play the return ball to Scott, and he does, but Watman gets there just in time. Intelligent ball there from Lehman. Watman eventually hits that one high. Sanders wins the flick on, but no one running. Kurtz under no real pressure at all. Tries to find Yost. Battling away with Muller, just falls to the ground as the substitute. Should roll out a play for a Zebra's throw. Ackley's going to leave it for Muller. Back to Dillon. And towards the back post where Sanders is lurking. Burns had time there if he got the shout, and Koso tries to roll the defender. Burns showing great flexibility there, but not quite getting the ball where he wanted it.
The big check. Harutza has a look up. Loud wheels he's rocking, really standing out in the dimness here at Warrior Park at the moment. Here's Riley Dillon, slides it through for Edwards, turning on it. This time Scott closely checking him, and then Koso wins it back for the Warriors. Off he goes. Joffrey and Koso has been fantastic again today. Yeah, not able to combine with a teammate on that occasion, just putting it across the face, but no one was going to be able to get to that one, but he's been a real live wire once again, Joffrey and Koso. The absence of Jack Ryan today. He's led the line with aplomb as Ladic, who's battled away in midfield superbly. Harutza. Edwards steers it straight to Jordan Scott, who's got one thing on his mind, and he drives it wide of the post. He sensed the chance there, did Jordan Scott, for another spectacular goal, but just not quite getting the purchase he was after.
The eyes widened there from Scott. Probably would have been better off trying to play in Mearns or Lehman on the left-hand side. But at a comfortable 3-1 up, might have a bit more licence to go for the spectacular. As Mountain whacks that to Ladic. Goes towards Scott. He's crowded out by Yonezawa. Akali chasing after the through ball. Kurtz goes safety first. Might take a while to get that ball retrieved. Dylan seeds the throw in to Big Ben Robinson. A huge run up available on that side, so still gets good distance on it. Smith rising high, falls to the top of the box. Good contest there from Mearns. And he's managed to win the free kick there, has Nick Mearns. Both players, I think, had eyes for the ball. Jordan Scott just keeping the ball, wondering where it is. Yeah, I wonder where it could be, Jordan.
Just in case anyone thought he was pregnant, that's probably about the only way you could get away with a bluff like that. It's been very good performance today from his side, the Olympia Warriors. And, chalk up a win, you would think, barring anything dramatic late, and 15 corners to 1. I think they had 12 shots on target to 3. It's been pretty dominant stuff from them today. They've made the Zebras look second best, that's for sure. That one just out of play again, and where to now for the Zebras? I suppose it's a team who may well shape the title race rather than participate in it. They've still got enough quality to challenge these top teams, but it does seem like it's going to be another season without silverware for the Zebras. Drought will continue for them. It started with promise. It's going to be pretty tough for them now. They have to win out and hope for a series of results at this point. But the Warriors will cut the gap to 5, and they're still well and truly alive and kicking in season 2019. If they can produce a few more performances like they have today, they'll be right in there, because this has been one of their more complete showings today from the Warriors, and looking to get on and find a fourth to really finish the day in style. Harutza heads away to Ladic, back to Jordan Scott. Cook down the line for Lehman. Ladic searching for Lehman, who continued his run. Harutza just parked himself back there, and he thought it just glanced off on Lehman, and Lehman's immediate body language suggested he thought it did too. But the man who matters did not share that opinion.
He didn't sell that decision terribly well, did Jacob Lehman, almost admitting defeat. As you say, the other thing Zebras came in this year was expectation as well, with Dave Smith coming to coach the club. Good reputation across Australia as Smith, and then bringing in Yonezawa, keeping Dylan and Harutza, keeping Sanders. Really talked up pre-season as potential title challengers. I think from this position that would be nigh on impossible, as Lehman's going to not quite keep that one in. And in the end, they're not likely to end up in that area. Glenorchy Knights, as well, as you say, potentially shaping the title decision. You can imagine that's a fairly average challenge from Mearns in the back of Muller.
Yeah, he probably lucky to
Deserves
avoid
the
a ticking
cheese,
off
yeah.
here, I think, Nick Mearns. That was sort of a tad unnecessary. And, probably fortunate to escape without a booking there. Nick Mearns on his opposite number in midfield there, Geordie Muller. Lucas Hill always favoured up against Jimmy Ackley in the air. Ladic just left it a little short for Kurtz, but he made it work, and then Scott swinging it over the top. Harutza able to cut that one out. Geordie Muller back on the ball, but Scott read the intent, jumped on. He's still working hard, Scott. He wants goal number 4. His attackers maybe not showing the same design. Not a lot of runs made for him, but now it's Yost. Can't find a way to dissect the pink shirts on this occasion. Yonezawa for Sanders, still the competition's leading marksman. He might be able to take home some silverware this year. He'll take some serious catching in the Golden Boot Stakes, that's for sure. Ladic did well, then Yonezawa came through. Kurtz doing Koso. Koso, skips free. They work it down the line. He and Mearns have combined spectacularly today. And a fairly aimless ball, that one, from Geordie Muller.
Interesting. See if they had Huxley available, when they would have put him up top just to provide a bit more body against Stevens and Hill. Whether that would have been a different tactic had Hughie been available, because they do seem to want to play it pretty direct, especially late in this second half to the Zebras. That's an aimless pass from Little, and Koso, he's hit that behind Mearns. They're pretty content though with their situation.
Just wondering if the Greek grocer conspiracy theories are going to start doing the rounds yet again.
That's where I was going.
It's 2 from 2 he's missed against the Warriors now. Let's not let the fact that he was in another country for one of them get in the way of a good conspiracy. He's in the country today, but he's unavailable. Have the grocer struck again, Paul?
Oh, it's absolute peak NPL there when that's the conspiracy theories we're talking about. We'll have to do some digging during the week, as Watman's put himself under a tad more pressure than probably necessary. I can't wait till we have a Zebras v South Hobart type one like that. We'll have to see if it's a chicken conspiracy, both sponsored by the same chain of chicken outlets as well. That's another food-related one we could have, as Sanders gets into the box and knocks it off Stevens for a corner.
Well, hopefully it plays out a little bit better than the last NPL feud involving food and South Hobart and Olympia.
I wonder if they were chicken sandwiches.
Well, maybe. Sandwich gate too. And, it's distant memories these days. And I'll tell you what, the Warriors, been quite the day for them. They've really stamped themselves. It's been a great bounce back from them after South Hobart really did a number on them last week. They were pulled apart at the back, frankly. They some of the girls certainly of their own doing, but struggled to deal with the threat of South. But, back home here at Warrior Park, enjoying life a lot more. As the rain coming down here now to end proceedings. It's pretty dim out there. Camera giving you a much clearer picture than people at the ground are probably getting. The light is not that bright, I assure you. Here's Nick Mearns. Lays it back to Lucas Hill. Lucas Hill thumps it forward. Ryan Cook out there. Back to Jordan Scott. Scott for Mearns. Brings it down. A cushion touch. And wants to head on his outside to Kurtz. The American just pushed in the back a little there. Scrapping away, trying to win the corner, and he won't get number 16. Just the goal kick. It's not quite Cricket World Cup Final 2007 tier of darkness and the camera deceiving the viewers, but it certainly is not as bright as the pictures beaming through to you right now.
We were saying at half-time you could barely see Mount Wellington. Well, Mount Wellington's a distant memory. We can barely see the Mean Rangers behind us here, which are of much less height than Mount Wellington, as Scott just doing his side of throwing after Dylan whacks it out of play. It's certainly a night to be in front of the fireplace, I think, with a cup of hot cocoa as the rain pours down.
Then we're going for something a little stronger around these parts after a result like this, Paul.
I'm conscious it's a Sunday and most might have to work tomorrow.
I think there'll be a couple of celebratory beers post-game. Nothing too dramatic, but I think the Warriors are going to be pretty happy campers after a result like this against their rivals. It's been a great performance to get their season back on track.
What do you mean you can't imagine Lucas Hill sitting down with a nice cup of cocoa singing Kumbaya in front of the fire after this?
How some would celebrate, not necessarily the mountain as he comes storming through. I tell you what, they're just going to want the final whistle, these players out here. It is teeming down out there now. It has just got uglier and uglier in these last 10 minutes. And I think there'll be a few baying for the final whistle, and there it is. Sweet relief, I'm sure, for a few of them. Charlie White brings an end to this contest in the driving rain. Thankfully, conditions weren't like that throughout the 90, but it was a real a downpour of chances at the Olympia end, really, throughout the match. They dominated this contest from just about start to finish. The Zebras, well, they had a few moments. Certainly whenever they conceded, they looked like responding immediately. They can only convert one of those chances. And on the balance of play, 3-1 is exactly what the Warriors deserve from this one. Comfortably the better side.
Thoroughly deserved result for the Warriors. Outplayed Zebras for pretty much the entirety of that game. Goals coming in both the first and second half. Looks like we'll have a look at the second half goal here from Lucas Hill. Really put the game to bed. Before that, they had probably 10 chances after coming out from half time. And really solid performance from the Warriors. Gets them within 5 points of the Strikers as we go into the Cup final weekend next weekend. And yeah, thoroughly deserved performance from the Warriors. Probably the most complete 90 minutes, I'd say, in terms of evenness, I reckon I've seen from them for the whole season, to be honest.
Yeah, really impressive. And as we said after last week, just what the doctor ordered in terms of response there was a response from Dwayne Walsh to falling a goal behind. A powerful hit there. He tried hard. They had some good moments down the flank, but Olympia quickly responding themselves. Jonathan Malungala with a poke home from close range. They were the first half scores. It ends here at Warrior Park. 3-1 in favour of Olympia. They cut the gap at the top of the table to 5 points. And that is the Strikers leading them. Their next game, of course, will be one of the next ones we've got coming for you next Monday, the 10th of June. We have got Cup Final Day at KG5, a triple header of Cup Finals. The under-20s between Beachside and Olympia. The Women's Statewide Cup Final, pitting the Kingborough Lions up against the Hobart Zebras in the Safari Derby. And then, for the third time in 4 years, it'll be Strikers and South for the Lacquer Cup and spot in the FFA Cup. Do join us for those ones. But from us here at Warrior Park today, it's goodbye as Olympia breathe life back into their NPL title campaign.